Hello, my name is Host Eric. I'm the host of Talking with Fitness People, and I'm going to do part two now of the addiction response to Joshua Moore because last time I did something dumb and it caused me to cut the video short. So anyway, firstly, cognates information. How one cognates information is beyond what one is rationally aware of. TI and SI are conscious agents, therefore function of the rational mind. Why human beings do anything is not topic of just our rational faculties. In addition, I'm not stating that psychoanalysis is empirical, but that it would serve as a better analytical device than the cognitive functions in determining why an individual might take up addiction. My point is that addiction is beyond the scope of MBTI. So I began by saying that there's no reason to presume that a purely metaphysical model like cognitive functions wouldn't be remarkably informative on the matter of addiction. And my second point is I have a lot of personal experience with addiction, and I know that most of the existing notions about addiction are wrong. Uh, I understand that it is harmful to pathologize addiction in terms of drug use or alcohol use because it's not a disease, it's a behavioral disorder, what you might call restraint. So, is it an SI problem? Yeah, absolutely it is. Because you don't seem to understand what the cognitive functions mean. Cognitive functions are representations of amount of time spent understanding the world through a certain framework. So an SI person is understanding themselves moving through time. That means they're thinking about their schedule, what they're going to do later. They're following that schedule. They're adhering to it. So these are the cognitive habits they're developing over the course of their life. They're a lot less likely to be an alcoholic than an ENTP who has poor SI. Now, what does it mean to have poor SI? Poor SI means I say, okay, well, I'm going to do this. When I go home, I'm not going to drink tonight because I don't have time for that. I put aside my checking my schedule then in my head and don't focus on it anymore. And as I'm going home, I feel differently now. I don't want to go back to that schedule I listened to earlier. And that's not my nature. It's not my way. So does it matter which cognitive functions you have in terms of whether you're likely to become an alcoholic or some other kind of addict? Of course it does. Of course it does, because the cognitive functions are descriptions of frequency of area of focus in your cognition. If I am an extroverted intuitor as a dominant function, that's going to make me a lot more prone to addiction than somebody with other cognitive functions in the dominant slot. Is it necessarily the deciding factor? No. Obviously, not everybody who has NE is an addict, and not every case of addiction involves somebody with NE. So, I don't think that Jacques made any such claims. And your attempts here to reduce meaningful insight into the matter to empirical data on brain architecture is insane. It's insanely wrong. It's insane, and it's representative of how you're trapped in a certain frame of reference you are. Because you're saying to Zach, oh, you're right to point this out, that INTPs do like to do that. You're wrong to assume that because you've identified a habit that there's something bad about it. In fact, hi Candace, I'm almost done here.
Okay.
Thank you for your patience and everything. I'll be right there.
Okay. I'm going to step in and talk to you real quick.
Okay, cool. So he says, if you want to help people change their behavior, then consult the relevant fields. No, that's wrong. Everybody seems to think you need to learn things from other sources that are respectable sources, reliable sources. In fact, a much more reliable approach is to simply test out the arguments, see what works and what doesn't. You clearly don't know what cognitive functions mean, right? Because you don't understand that it's a matter of prioritizing for a period of hours in a given day. I didn't learn that somewhere. I figured it out. I thought about it. And you can't defeat the point because it's overwhelmingly, intuitively, obviously true that if somebody spends all their time thinking about and adhering to their schedule, that unless they're choosing to schedule alcoholism into their schedule, they're very unlikely to be an alcoholic. My mother drank more than probably most ISFJs because my dad was kind of a drunk. But she never had any kind of a drinking problem at all, and prioritized her scheduled, yeah, over that. So when you say here, you say cognitive configuration in terms of what? Well, it's not how the brain is configured. It's about how your cognition habits are configured. So you do habitually think in this mechanism, Joshua. You're not going around worrying a lot about how this is going to come across. Now, most INTPs will always err on the side of caution regarding that, and not risk coming across as smug in this fashion because they might get smacked down if they're wrong. You feel confident about the subject matter, and Zachary showed a little bit of blood in the water in his first response, and you pounced on it. But you're wrong. All right? So let's see. Cognitive configuration is better served as a topic for neuroscience and cognitive science. No, it's not. Cognitive habits certainly aren't, and the configuration that produces those habits are irrelevant since metacogniting about the habits is one thing we can change, not about the architectural structure, at least not directly. And even if we could, that would have to be through a metacognitive process. Okay. Your analysis is shallow and therefore inaccurate. Well, that's not actually true. You just said your reasoning is bad and therefore wrong. If I say that to you, am I correct? I'm not, right? You said that because his analysis is shallow, it's inaccurate. But there's no indication whatsoever that something's degree of depth has to do with its degree of accuracy. We can take a very shallow measurement of something by just saying, on the metric of little, medium, big, what is it? Based according to little being a pebble and big being a boulder, which is the closest to. We could do that. There's lots of things we can do. But the point is, yeah, you're wrong. So I'm not trying to be a dick or contentious for the sake of argument, but sincere in my concern for the topic and potential listeners. I'm concerned too. I'm sincere in my concern as well. I've been a practicing addict, and I know that the lies that cause people to return to active addiction. I've failed to quit before on certain occasions and attempted it. I understand how the metacognition works in the process and that for me. And what I'm telling you is pathologization is a bad idea. If you are an addict out there, what you need to do is take individual decision making and say, I must come to terms with saying goodbye to this close friend forever. I must truly internalize that must be the case. However, I got to figure it out. I got to build as many metaphysical walls around the possibility of me doing that again as possible. If you're really seriously having a problem with something. So, but it doesn't mean you got to get cut out of everything else. All right. So if you have a problem with alcohol, and you still want to smoke weed, Alcoholics Anonymous will tell you no. I will tell you absolutely do that if you can make that work for you, because weed is much, much better thing to be addicted to if you're going to be addicted to something, right? Much less harmful. I got to go. My ex-wife's waiting to take me out to dinner because she's a nice woman. Talk to you later. Thanks for watching Time to Family People.